We stand on the precipice of an ancient, perfectly engineered world, one that functions with an efficiency humankind can only dream of achieving. This world is the honeybee hive, and what goes on inside its waxy walls is nothing short of organizational alchemy. It is a fortress, a laboratory, and a cradle of civilization all at once. The hive contains up to 60,000 individuals, each with a defined role, a pre-programmed life cycle, and a relentless focus on the collective good. Yet for all its visible sweetness and industry, the true value of this micro-society remains shockingly overlooked by the macro world. We celebrate the honey, but we ignore the mechanism that creates the very bedrock of our own existence. Today, we peel back the wax capping to reveal the extraordinary, almost unsettling perfection of the honeybee worker. The sheer scale of their collective contribution is a biological marvel we must finally acknowledge. It begs the question, how does a tiny insect orchestrate a city of 60,000 with zero oversight? The foundation of this perfection is eusociality, a biological term for a truly cooperative society with a reproductive division of labor. At the center of this world is the queen, not a monarch in the human sense, but a reproductive engine and a chemical broadcast center. She is the sole source of all future workers, laying up to 2,000 eggs a day during peak season. Her most vital role is the release of pheromones, complex chemical signals that police the behavior of every other bee. These chemical messengers suppress the reproductive instincts of the workers and unify the colony into a single, cohesive entity. Without her unique scent, the perfect machine begins to break down into chaotic, selfish parts. The queen's power is silent, invisible, and absolute, yet she performs her duties without a single audible command. Her life, however, is a relentless cycle of laying, a task so demanding that even she must rely entirely on the surrounding workers. The journey to the perfect worker begins the moment the adult bee chews its way out of the sealed wax cell. Its first role, the foundational task of its life, is the job of the cell cleaner. For 3 solid days, this newborn bee meticulously polishes the cell from which it just emerged, preparing it for the queen's next egg. This obsessive cleaning is a critical measure of hygiene, ensuring the young brood is protected from spores and pathogens. Every cell must be immaculate, a perfectly sterile nursery for the next generation of workers. This relentless pursuit of cleanliness is a key secret to the hive's resilience against disease. The efficiency is astounding. One task immediately follows the next, driven by an internal biological clock. They don't need a manager. Their age is their assignment. As the worker bee matures, its hypopharyngeal glands begin to develop, signaling the next stage of its career, nurse bee. This is one of the most physically taxing and nutritionally crucial roles in the hive's hierarchy. Nurse bees must consume massive amounts of pollen, the raw protein of the colony, to synthesize the rich, milky substance known as brood food. This secretion is carefully portioned into the larvae cells, precisely timed to their developmental stage. It is an act of pure, selfless nourishment, requiring constant movement and a deep understanding of developmental biology, all learned instinctively. The ultimate act of dedication is the feeding of the queen herself, a task performed by a special cohort of nurses. A profound, almost mythical secret is revealed during the nurse bee stage, the origin of the queen. Every female bee larva is genetically identical at the egg stage. The distinction is made purely by diet. Larvae destined to become common workers receive royal jelly for only the first 3 days, then switch to a coarser diet of honey and pollen. But the chosen few are fed royal jelly exclusively, a potent superfood that fundamentally alters their biology. This simple dietary switch changes a 6-week lifespan into a multi-year reign and a sterile female into a reproductive powerhouse. This nutritional divergence holds a potential secret to biological longevity that science has only just begun to explore. It makes you wonder what subtle, hidden ingredients in their environment hold the key to life's greatest mysteries. Around the 10th day of a worker bee's life, a new set of glands activate, marking the beginning of the architect phase. Wax glands on the bee's abdomen secrete tiny translucent flakes of beeswax. The bee must consume up to 8 pounds of honey just to produce 1 pound of wax, underscoring the precious nature of the hive's building material. They then chew and mold these flakes into the famous hexagonal honeycomb cells. This shape is not random. It is the most mathematically perfect structure in nature for maximizing storage volume while minimizing building material. The collective construction is flawless, with bees working on different sides of a comb to meet in the middle with microscopic precision. The engineering is so perfect that human architects still study it for structural inspiration. The hive's stability depends entirely on temperature regulation, a role assumed by the worker bees known as ventilators. They must maintain a steady D-95 degrees Fahrenheit, D-35 degrees Celsius within the brood nest, regardless of the scorching heat or freezing cold outside. In the summer, they achieve this by fanning their wings at the hive entrance, drawing fresh air in and expelling moist, hot air out. In the winter, they cluster tightly, vibrating their flight muscles to generate heat, a stunning display of cooperative thermogenesis. A sudden, unexplained change in the rhythmic hum of the hive is the first sign of disaster. This relentless, invisible labor of climate control is the pulse of the superorganism. Once a worker bee reaches the 3-week mark, its duties shift dramatically, transforming it into the guard bee. These veterans station themselves at the narrow hive entrance, ready to inspect and, if necessary, repel any intruder. They check every incoming bee for the colony's specific pheromonal scent, a biological security clearance. Any foreign scent, from a predatory wasp to a robber bee, triggers an immediate and often lethal response. They are the final, sacrificial line of defense, a caste of warriors whose primary weapon is their singular sting and subsequent death. The guard bee understands that the life of the hive is exponentially more valuable than its own brief existence. The final and most dangerous stage of a worker bee's life is that of the forager. These are the eldest bees, now disposable in the cruel, efficient calculus of the hive, and their mission is to fly out into the great unknown. Foraging is not random. It is a precisely choreographed search for nectar, pollen, and water. A successful forager returns to the dark hive and performs the legendary waggle dance. This complex movement is a form of spatial communication, relaying the exact direction, distance, and quality of the resource to her sisters. The perfection of this dance language is an unparalleled feat of natural engineering. The hive uses this biological GPS to optimize its resource collection with unbelievable precision. The true hidden value of the honey bee is not the honey, the wax, or the propolis. It is the pollination. A single colony can visit millions of flowers in a day, transferring the pollen necessary for over 1/3 of all global food crops. Without this tireless, unpaid labor, almonds would cease to grow, avocados would disappear, and the cost of nearly every fruit and vegetable would skyrocket. The economic value of honeybee pollination is estimated to be in the tens of billions of dollars annually, far outweighing the value of all hive products combined. They are the essential, overlooked linchpin of human agriculture and the global food web. But what happens when the perfect worker starts to vanish? The sudden disappearance of the perfect worker, known as colony collapse disorder, CCD, is the great modern riddle that threatens this ancient perfection. Entire hives can suddenly empty, leaving behind the queen, the brood, and plenty of honey, but no adult worker bees to tend them. The sight of a healthy-looking hive turning into a ghost town overnight is deeply unsettling to beekeepers and scientists alike. The leading theories point to a devastating combination of factors: a synergistic effect of pesticides, habitat loss, and the pernicious varroa mite. This mysterious evacuation is a biological alarm bell, warning us that the natural systems supporting our food are critically compromised. The bees aren't just dying. They're fleeing something so toxic, they abandon their life's work. The most devastating single threat to the honeybee hive is the microscopic Varroa destructor mite. This external parasite feeds on the fat body tissue of adult bees in developing pupae, weakening their immune systems. More critically, the mite is a vector for a host of debilitating viruses, most notably the deformed wing virus, DWV. A hive can tolerate a few mites, but an unchecked infestation leads to a colony-wide viral epidemic and inevitable collapse. Beekeepers must constantly monitor and treat for this parasite, a relentless war against a creature smaller than a pinhead. The survival of the perfect worker now depends entirely on its human caretakers finding a way to defeat this silent, invasive enemy. The extensive use of systemic pesticides, particularly neonicotinoids, has introduced an invisible poison into the foraging environment. These chemicals are absorbed by the plant and expressed in its pollen and nectar, making the bee's essential food source toxic. A bee may not die immediately, but repeated exposure damages its nervous system, impairing its memory and ability to navigate. A poisoned forager may lose its ability to perform the waggle dance, or simply fail to find its way back home. The poison doesn't just kill, it causes navigational dementia in the hive's most valuable workers. The very tools designed to boost crop yield are inadvertently undermining the core biological mechanism that creates that yield. The honeybee hive possesses its own powerful apothecary, a dark, sticky resin called propolis. Workers gather this from tree buds and sap flows, using it as a sealant to fill gaps and crevices in the hive structure. However, its true value is medicinal. Propolis is a potent antiseptic, antifungal, and antibacterial agent. The bees coat the inner walls of the hive with it, effectively creating a sterile environment that mitigates the risk of microbial outbreaks. The hive is thus a self-medicating, self-cleaning biological fortress. In recent studies, colonies treated with propolis showed lower rates of viral infection, proving that this dark secret is a natural immune booster for the entire superorganism. In a society of 60,000, daily deaths are inevitable, creating a major hygiene challenge. This is the solemn duty of the mortician bee, a specialized worker caste dedicated solely to removing the dead. These bees quickly identify and carry deceased colony members out of the hive, dropping them far away from the entrance. This extreme level of fastidious sanitation is crucial to prevent the spread of pathogens within the tight confines of the nest. Failure to perform this task with urgency would lead to rapid internal contamination and the inevitable doom of the colony. It is a grim, thankless, yet absolutely vital job that ensures the overall health of the entire civilization. We see honey as a delicious sweetener, but to the bee, it is a stable, potent form of energy storage, engineered for perfect longevity. Nectar is actively ripened by the bees through a process of regurgitation and enzyme addition. They fan their wings furiously to reduce the water content, making the resulting liquid too viscous for microbes to thrive. An enzyme called glucose oxidase is added, which produces trace amounts of hydrogen peroxide, giving honey its remarkable antimicrobial properties. Honey is, therefore, not just food. It is a biochemically enhanced, self-preserving fuel source and an internal antiseptic for the hive. It is a golden testament to the bee's mastery of chemistry and physics. Despite the perceived hierarchy, the honeybee colony practices a remarkable form of collective decision-making, particularly when it's time to reproduce through swarming. Before the old queen leaves with half the workforce, scout bees are dispatched to find and evaluate new nest sites. Upon returning, they perform specialized waggle dances to promote their findings, and other scouts go to investigate the best options. The decision is made through a literal vote by the number of dances performed for a specific site. This collective, democratic selection process ensures the survival of the species, proving that even a superorganism relies on the wisdom of the crowd. The male honeybee, the drone, represents a baffling biological paradox within the hive's hyper-efficient structure. He performs no useful labor. He cannot clean, forage, or defend the hive because he lacks a stinger, pollen baskets, and wax glands. His sole, singular purpose is to mate with a queen from another colony, an event that will inevitably lead to his immediate death. The workers tolerate this massive consumer of resources for a brief period during the mating season. However, as winter approaches, the workers demonstrate their ruthless, hyper-rational efficiency. They violently expel the drones from the hive, sacrificing the few to save the many from starvation. The queen's mating flight is a crucial element in maintaining the genetic resilience of the entire colony. A queen will mate with many different drones during her single flight, sometimes up to 20 or 30. This polyandry ensures a high degree of genetic diversity within the resulting worker population. Different worker petrolines have different specializations, enhancing the hive's ability to adapt to changing environments and diseases. The hive understands implicitly that diversity is the ultimate form of insurance against ecological disaster. The perfect worker is not a clone. It is a genetically varied specialist, ready for any challenge. The honeybee is more than a pollinator or a producer of honey. It is nature's sentinel. Because they cover thousands of hectares and interact intimately with the floral environment, their health is a direct barometer of ecosystem health. Declining bee populations are an undeniable sign of a stressed, polluted, and fractured landscape. The very pesticides that kill the bees are found in our own water sources and food chains. The fragility of the hive as perfection is a mirror reflecting the fragility of our own civilization as reliance on sustainable nature. The alarm is already sounding, and the world is still hitting the snooze button. Revisiting the honeycomb, we confront the raw geometry of efficiency that drives the entire system. The six-sided prism is an engineering feat that minimizes the amount of wax used while maximizing the weight-bearing capacity for honey storage. The cells are not perfectly horizontal, but are tilted slightly upwards, acting as tiny shelves to prevent the liquid nectar and honey from spilling. This slight, calculated incline is a subtle detail that speaks volumes about the worker's inherent understanding of gravity and fluid dynamics. They are instinctive mathematicians, builders who solve complex structural problems with nothing but their mandibles and a waxy secretion. This structural genius is a silent, enduring testament to natural selection. The life of the worker bee is a poignant trade-off of vitality for the colony's sake. A worker born in the spring or summer lives for a frantic 6 to 8 weeks, her body quickly worn out by the rigors of flight and labor. Conversely, a worker born in the fall lives for a much longer period, sometimes several months, surviving the winter to prepare for the next spring bloom. These diurnus bees have different physiology, conserving their energy and body fat to act as the essential bridge between seasons. This ability to biologically adjust the lifespan based on the needs of the superorganism is a masterful example of genetic programming. They literally sacrifice their longevity for the sake of their sister's future. The winter hive forms a miraculous structure known as the winter cluster. The bees do not hibernate. Instead, they generate heat by rapidly vibrating their flight muscles. The cluster is dynamic, with workers constantly rotating from the cold periphery to the warm, honey-filled core. This continuous collective motion ensures that no individual freezes, maintaining the core temperature necessary for survival. The cluster is a living, breathing heat engine, a collective act of engineering that defies the harshest elements. This self-organized warming system is the ultimate expression of the hive's best definition of the perfect worker, the one who serves the whole. For every successful foraging flight, there are countless missed opportunities and fatal mistakes. A worker bee will fly thousands of miles in its lifetime, and yet the total amount of honey it produces is only about 1/12 of a teaspoon. This tiny contribution underscores the colossal, collective effort required for the hive's output. The tragedy is that, as the environment becomes more fragmented and polluted, the energy expenditure for foraging increases dramatically. The worker burns through its short lifespan faster, and more nectar remains uncollected, a lost resource. The dwindling numbers of perfect workers represent a vast, unrecoverable energy loss for the entire ecosystem. The hive's communication extends beyond the waggle dance to a sophisticated chemical lexicon of pheromones. When a guard bee stings an intruder, it releases a potent alarm pheromone, a chemical signal that smells strongly of banana. This scent instantly alerts nearby workers to the location and nature of the threat, triggering a mass defensive response. This instant chemical communication creates a coordinated swarm of defenders, demonstrating an instantaneous hive-wide military response. This powerful, invisible signal allows the colony to mobilize faster than any human organization could dream of. It is a biological battle cry that demands a unified, selfless reaction. The pollination services of the honeybee are not just a nice-to-have. They are a critical, non-negotiable part of the global agricultural supply chain. Massive bee colonies are transported across continents on trucks, moving from almond orchards in California to blueberry fields in Maine. This migratory beekeeping is a direct result of industrial monocropping, which requires concentrated pollination power for brief, intense periods. This dependence has made the bee a form of agricultural livestock, a crucial commodity. The fragility of this system is terrifying. A single disease outbreak on a moving truck could devastate a critical food source overnight. The life of the forager is the final, most sacrificial stage of the perfect worker. They are the oldest, most expendable members, assigned the dangerous job of navigating the external world. Their wings become frayed, their bodies battered, and their navigation skills, sometimes impaired by residual toxins, are often the only thing standing between them and a final, fatal mistake. Many foragers never make it back to the hive, dying alone in a field after their wings simply give out. Their sacrifice ensures that the younger, more valuable nurse bees and housekeepers remain safe inside, ready to perpetuate the cycle. It is a selfless, anonymous end to a life lived entirely for the collective good. The dark, medicinal secret of propolis extends its value far beyond the hive walls. Known since ancient times, this resin is increasingly being studied for its potential antiviral, anti-inflammatory, and even anti-cancer properties. It is a natural product, gathered and chemically processed by the bee, that contains a complex array of bioactive compounds. As we struggle with antibiotic resistance, this hive-developed medicine offers a natural pathway to new human treatments. The perfect worker has been providing us with essential medicine for millennia, a hidden pharmaceutical value that we are only now fully appreciating. The honeybee hive functions as a biological superorganism, where the individual bee is analogous to a single cell in a larger body. No single bee strives for individual gain. Every action is devoted to the survival and prosperity of the whole. This relentless focus on the collective, the ruthless efficiency, and the perfect division of labor make the hive a stunning, uncomfortable model for human society. They thrive not through competition, but through absolute, selfless cooperation. Their success is a lesson in unity, a biological rebuke to the human tendency toward individualism and inefficiency. We began by recognizing the hive as the world's most perfectly engineered society, but we end with a stark warning. The hidden value of the honeybee is the hidden value of all life, a fragile chain of biological dependence that begins with the smallest worker. The crisis facing the bee is not just an environmental one. It is an existential threat to our agriculture, our economy, and our global stability. If the perfect worker vanishes entirely, the cost will not be a lack of honey, but the collapse of the food systems we take for granted. The secret is out. The honeybee is not working for the hive anymore. It is working for us. We must now decide if we are worthy of this hidden, perfect worker's ultimate, selfless sacrifice.